What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Recall Podcast.
Back at it again.
We back at it, baby. This is episode 12. And today, man, we just going to talk. We're going to just kick it a little bit. And we're going to talk about something that I think is kind of a hot topic right now. We want to talk about, can Christians have fun and not think about sinning in fun? You know what I mean? Like it's a question. A lot of people feel like Christians are boring, and so we're gonna talk about: are we boring? Do we have fun? What do we do for fun? And all of those things are gonna be discussed today. And so let's roll. All right, y'all, we here, man. And today's topic is: can a Christian have fun? What do you think?
I mean, I'm having fun all the time.
You're having fun, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so when we first get saved, right?
Hmm.
The first thing that we think about when we give our life to God is our fun is done.
Right.
We can't drink no more. We can't smoke no more. If you're single, you can't have sex no more. You can't do all these things, right? So the question is, what do Christians do when they first get saved, and then what happens when we take this journey? Because a lot of people, they might be watching, and their friends might, they might be saying, man, I really want to give my heart to the Lord, or I want to go to church. That's the thing. I want to go to church, but then I'm going to miss out on all the fun. What do you say about that?
Well, I mean, coming from my experience, obviously, I think every believer can kind of say the same thing. I think it's just about the fact that your flesh is clashing with purity. And
It's
so
good.
when
It's
your
good.
flesh clashes, the flesh lies to you and tells you the lifestyle that you're living now is way better than what you're going to transition to.
Yeah, because you're afraid, like,
Right, you're
you
afraid
can't go
that
clubbing.
you're gonna be a Mormon.
Yeah,
You're
like,
gonna
I can't do nothing. And you know what? I got saved way before
Yeah,
you.
way before
Right?
you.
Like you were still
I was still a
in high
fetus.
school probably.
So-
When I got saved in 2000, I remember getting saved and my friends were still out there. They were smoking, partying, and all that. And I decided to quit cold turkey. I wasn't gonna smoke no more. I wasn't gonna drink no more. None of that stuff.
Right.
And I was like, man, what do I do about my weekends? And so for a long time, man, I used to stay home and we played Monopoly. And I ain't gonna front, it was boring. It was boring, and because I did not know what it was to live this lifestyle.
Right.
So I was just like, man, it's boring. I don't want to do this no more. And I had an itchy, I had an itch to, like, yo, I want to go back into the world. I want to do this. I want to do that. What was your struggle like? You know what I mean? You come into the faith. You obviously you were still a part of a body or whatever, but you really didn't have that relationship that you have now. What was it like when you finally said, I'm done doing this stuff and now I'm going to live according to scripture?
Um, I mean, I know for sure there was a time where, especially when it came to drugs, uh, it wasn't really more for God. It was more for my girl at the time,
Okay.
and I knew because she was the one, right? So like I knew she was the one. I knew that eventually we were going to transition and serve the Lord, but at the same time, I was still in that side of not wanting to.
Okay.
But like how you said, like for me, it was the same thing. Like I had to tell my boys and I had to sit them down, and I was actually surprised that they were accepting of what I was telling them. But at the same time, when we would be in those moments of like I would still go out and hang out with them, and I would like be like, "Yo, let me get a hit of that," and they'd be
Yeah.
like, "Yo, I thought you said you was done." But then at the same time, they would still let me get it.
Of course.
But then eventually, I was like, "All right," like I had to tell them straight up, like, "Yo, y'all bad influence. I love y'all, but y'all my bad influence."
Gotta bounce.
But this was the problem for me. My
Yeah.
issue was I took an addiction and I basically transitioned that addiction to video games. And so now I was in the house just
Playing
addicted
video
to
games.
video games. I didn't leave the house. Now I would say that it was a better option than smoking and killing my life and destroying my lungs. But
Yeah.
at the same time, then
You
I
still
was
wasn't doing nothing though.
I still wasn't doing that. So I was still stuck and wilding. And then eventually I did break my addiction. I remember the time when I was working at Sam's Club and there was a specific moment. This is how I knew this was my breaking point to see if I was going to be set free. And I found a fresh pack of Newports,
Yeah.
100s.
I never
Not
smoked
even-
the 100s are horrible.
Not even open.
I used to smoke the shorts.
Nah, see, I mean, I did.
I
but
couldn't
it-
smoke the
it-
100s. They were just too long.
Well, I was always the type of guy to smoke after I got high.
Yeah,
'Cause it
of
just
course.
gives you a boost. you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I remember like it was a fresh pack, and mind you, I was like months already without doing it, without smoking weed.
And you saw that
nothing.
whole fresh pack
Oh
and it
man,
was calling your
It
name.
was calling my name. It was tempting, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like my mind was going crazy, and I was like, "Bro, I can't do this." Talking to myself and pacing, and out of nowhere, I just said, "I'm not doing it," and I launched it over the fence.
Yeah.
And I remember.
And then
that
you jumped
day,
the fence and went and got him.
Nah. Honestly, I thought about it. I was like, I mean, I could just jump it. The fence is pretty small, but I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. And that day, I got set free. I never
Come
had
on.
the hunger, the taste, nothing. Like,
Because you decided that it was time for you
it was a
to
test.
stop.
It was literally a test. I felt like it was a test from the enemy, but also a test from God to see, like,
Yeah.
yo, this is your time to be set free. Are you going to give in or not?
Yeah.
And when I did it, like, I literally, and never again. Like, to this day, I'm surprised that, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I
So
don't
you've never smoked after that day?
even- after that, ever,
Never smoked
never.
weed after that day? Never smoked a cigarette
I was probably
after that
like
day?
19.
19 years
19 or
old. So it's
20.
been since 19 you have not smoked.
Yeah, I'm 28 now. So.
Wow. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I remember when I was a teenager, I started smoking at the age of 12.
Mm-hmm.
So from 12 to like 19, I smoked cigarette. Like I was at the point where I was smoking 2.5 packs of Newport Shorts a day.
Sheesh.
Like I was smoking, and then I would smoke weed, and then I would drink. Right. So when you come into the faith and you're like, hey man, am I really gonna be able to really kick this habit? You know what I mean? And there are people to this day, listen, if you're struggling with smoking, if you're struggling with drinking and you're in the faith, but you're still having a struggle, you need to make a decision that you're done with it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. You have to make the decision that you're done with it. If you don't make the decision that you're done with it, then what you're doing is you are giving yourself a constant temptation.
Right. And it's like also, like you said, it is a decision, and you have to be the one to make the choice. It's not like God's just going to boop. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
he don't
Like,
do that.
That doesn't, I mean, there are people that has those stories. You know what I'm
Absolutely,
saying?
where it take the taste out of
Right,
the
and
mouth
it's
and all that.
an amazing
Absolutely.
thing, but realistically, it's like God's always gonna test you, and if you're really about it and going to the altar every Sunday or Saturday, and you're crying out to God, but then you go right,
You're going right back to doing the same thing.
Right when you walk out, you're already smoking. It's like no judgment to you, but at the same time, if you're already doing it from a posture of like you're trying to get rid of it, then it's like, dude, like,
You gotta stop.
You gotta stop.
You gotta figure out
and you
a
gotta
way to stop
make
it.
those key changes in your life in the sense of your friends, because
Absolutely.
that's the biggest thing. It's like once I made that decision first to say, okay, I can't hang out with my best friends that I grew up for all my life, and they were okay with it. I realized, okay, at least they're okay with it.
Yeah.
And now that encouraged me. But there's some people that have friends that don't encourage you.
Well, absolutely.
And
They'll,
so
they'll make
now-
fun of you. They'll call you
Yeah.
a punk. They'll
And
be
at
like,
that
"Ah,
moment, you have to open up your
corny."
eyes and be like, okay, these aren't my friends.
Absolutely.
Like, that's the realest thing. And some people can't accept that. They'd be like, oh, no, they love me. They just looking out for me. And it's like, dude, you're blinded, bro.
Yeah.
Like, how you not see that they're like, they don't want nothing good for you?
They don't want nothing good for you. Plus, the thing is that you don't understand that those friends are part of your past.
Right.
And there's a future
They're not coming
that's in
with you.
front of you that they're not going to come.
Yeah.
Some may come, but not all of
Not
them
everybody.
are going to come. And so, you got to be careful with the friends that you keep. The Bible tells us that bad company corrupts good character,
Right.
right? So we got to be careful with the company that we keep. And as believers, I'm not saying that you can't hang out with people who smoke and drink, because I know people that smoke and drink. I know people that, get high every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hang out with them, but I know them,
Right.
and they know what I do,
And you don't treat them any different.
and I don't treat them any different. Not at all. What's going on, everybody? Listen, if you are watching this right now and you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We want you to become part of the Recall fam. So do me a favor, like, subscribe, bang on that notification bell so that you stay connected to everything that we upload. We already have 12 episodes, y'all. We have one more episode, and season 2 is coming in June. So listen, become part of the Recall fam. We thank you for supporting. We thank you for being with us and watching these. But we really want you to comment. We want to know that you're watching. So comment below. Let us know that you're watching. And comment what you want to see on the Recall podcast. That's why we're here. So we hope that you continue to be with us as we put up content, as we talk about topics that are hot, as we talk about music, as we talk about art, as we talk about God, as we talk about Jesus, as we talk about everything under the sun we're going to talk about. And so make sure you like, subscribe, and bang on that notification bell. All right? Hope to see you soon. Peace. So the company that we keep is so important because the people from our past, that's our past. That's what that is. And I think a lot of times what we want to do is we want people to go with us on a journey that's not meant for them to go on.
Right. We just want to drag them along. And it's like they don't want to be there because they know it's uncomfortable. And it's like, this is not where I want to be.
Yeah.
But because you have that soul tie that has been basically like built for so many years, you just feel like, man, like I feel led to drag you along with me. Like you're meant to be with me. And it's like, no, man, like, it's sad to say that not everybody's meant to come with you. Like,
yeah.
I never expected my best friends that I would literally have conversations with when I was high, when I wasn't high, and we was crying, we was not crying, and we was growing up from the age of 8 all the way till my teens.
Yeah.
And we would literally have long conversations like, yeah, man, you're going to be there when I have my kid and this and that. And then to find out when you give your life to the Lord that that's never going to take place because they're far away from what you experience.
Yeah.
And they clearly aren't going that way at this moment, at least, because you know everybody has an opportunity to get saved, but the timing is different for everyone.
The timing is different, and the bottom line is they're not meant to go with you.
Right.
Right. So now we're on the topic of can Christians have fun? Mm-hmm. Right. So I remember seeing my boys, and seeing them. That this is the era of MySpace and all that.
Mr.
And
Tom.
so you would see their pictures and they'd be like, oh, we at the club, we doing it up, we having fun, da-da-da, all this stuff, right? So they're up in the club, they're having fun. I'm seeing pictures and I'm sitting at home. I'm like, man, did I make the right decision? Am I really wanting to follow this God that I just gave my life to? Or do I want to stick this, or do I want to leave and go back to who I was?
Right, it's tormenting.
And it is tormenting. It's like, there's a song. Matter of fact, I'm going to play this song at the end of this live. At the end of live, I'm always doing lives, guys. At the end of this podcast today, I'm going to play this song. It's an old song, so don't, it's an old song, but it's called Creature Feature. Double feature, and it's by Cross Movement, and the song specifically is talking about how his friends are out partying and doing all this stuff and he's home. It's so I think that a lot of people backslide because they are so tied to the past, and they think they can't have fun in the future because they don't know what it is to have fun being somebody that is serving the Lord.
Well, the process in the beginning, you will be alone because you have to build new relationships.
Yes.
So it's like that's what people are truly scared of is to start fresh.
Yeah.
They don't want to start fresh because they put so much work into these relationships. They put in so much work in their character that they built for so many years, the lifestyle, the way you think.
That's so good. Listen to what he's saying, y'all.
All those things like you've built in for so many years and they're established, like they become like these towers in your mind.
Yeah.
And it's like
they're like pillars to your life.
Right. But it's false things. It's things that you built in the world. And it's like, that's why your eyes are so like tainted.
Yeah.
But then once you
they're
give your life to the
exactly.
Lord, you're like, you're exposed to things and then now the truth.
Absolutely.
And then you're like, oh my God, this hurts so bad because like now I gotta get rid of this and now I can't do this. And it's not a bad thing for you to think that. It might feel like that because you're still like struggling with your flesh to agree with what
absolutely
the spirit is telling you to do.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, like you put in all that time and it is what it is. Like at the end of the day, the trueness of who you're meant to be and what you're meant to do and how you're meant to see things is the best way to live.
Absolutely.
Like, why would you want to stay stuck?
I think when you're saying it like that, it's so important because what we don't really teach in church is transition from the world to Christ.
Right.
We don't teach that.
They don't teach
We
that.
we automatically teach that. Well, you know what? You got to stop smoking. You got to stop drinking. You got to stop doing this. You got to stop. And so what we do is we teach modification instead of a process of sanctification.
Right.
And so, you know, I remember, you know, and I've said this in my testimony, how I told Lord, I said, Lord, I'm not going to listen to another worship song unless you show me that there's some hip hop in this walk, because I was a hip hop head.
Right.
I threw away albums upon albums upon albums of like the dopest goats that are out there,
Right.
and then I'm listening to Hillsong.
Oh man.
And back then it wasn't like how it is now. Back then it was like trumpets and just really old school worship. And I was like, I cried. I was like, Lord, you got to show me something because
He was hurting.
I'm about to go back to the world simply because I don't have music.
You heard
And
that
then
one beat and the way you was driving by, you're like, oh man.
I know. Listen, it was tough.
going
It
on
was
right
tough.
now?
Remember, I got saved in 2000. So in 2000 was when,
The prime
you know,
of
well, I don't say the prime. I think 96, 90, the 90s, 95. We can argue about that because he's young.
Yeah.
But for y'all out there, what era of hip hop is better, the 90s or the early 2000s? You tell me.
I don't know. That's debatable.
We already know it's the 90s. But anyway, but either way, these artists start coming out with music and this and that, and I'm like, Lord, I need something. So for me, it felt like if I don't have something from my past as far as music is concerned, I'm going to go back to my past.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I think Christians have way more options now than when I was first saved. When I was first saved, I was coming up in the Christian hip hop era.
Right.
You know what I mean? You guys have Hovey and they got everything now.
Amazing artists. But I think back in the day, the problem also was that a lot of religious people, like in Puerto Rico, you call them rajatablas.
Rajatablas,
Like,
yes.
it was like straight up law. Like they had their own man-made rules, and they'll diminish rappers.
Oh
right?
yeah,
Because they
I've been kicked out of churches for rapping.
right, and it was
Absolutely.
and anything in general, anything that has to do with the world, they felt like we can't use that talent that the Lord gives you, right? Because those are gifts. But the problem is those people are using those gifts for the world.
Yeah,
But they look at it as like, no, it's straight for the world. That's what those gifts are for. And it's like the
But
gift
they're
has
not. They're
nothing
for-
to do
they're
with
for
the
God.
world. It's just the fact that
Absolutely.
they're using it in a tainted way. But there are believers that I remember growing up, the Spanish artists that were rapping, and people would just judge them. Like they wouldn't even give them an opportunity. And I'm
absolutely,
like,
absolutely.
dude, what's wrong with you guys? Like, it's not like he's rapping something worldly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know, that's why a lot of young cats at that time, they were struggling because they were like, oh, man, I'm just going to get judged. And this is something that I love to hear.
And
Like,
so they went and they started listening to secular stuff
on the low.
on the low,
Yeah.
and it doesn't build you up. It doesn't
That was
edify
me.
you.
That
You
was
know what I
literally
mean?
me.
And so I'm grateful that I found a hip hop community that serves Christ and walks in the ways of God. But, you know, when we're talking about, you know, even what you said, how can we still be have fun but not be worldly?
Well, I mean, I really think at this point, like, people just get this mindset of, like, well, once you're a believer, you're not going to have fun, right? Which is the topic that we're talking about
Yeah, exactly.
at this point. And it's like, it's not the fact that you can't have fun. Like, it really, you got to define what fun is, right? Because
Gotta define it.
if you're saying I can't have fun without cursing, then how is that truly fun?
Exactly.
Like, you can't tell me that you can't go to a party. Clearly, there's parties that are different parties that
Yeah.
one party might have drinking and stuff, and I have family members that I'll go visit and they're drinking, and
I
I'm
have
okay.
family members doing the same
I'm
thing.
not gonna sit there and be like, oh, I can't go there because they're drinking. Like, I'm not gonna get involved in that, obviously, but that doesn't mean I can't have fun while I'm there.
Exactly.
Like, I'm gonna sit there.
I
I'm
think
gonna joke
sometimes the Christian table be the most loudest,
Right.
and people be like, "Why you so happy?" You be like, "I ain't got to put liquor in my body
Right.
for me to have fun."
Right.
So I think that we have a misconception that Christians are supposed to be boring and they're not supposed to have fun. They're not supposed to do anything. We're not supposed to dance, And so
That's a big one right there.
let's talk about the topic of dance. So dancing, right? I remember I was at a Sweet 16 with my wife, and me and my wife were dancing to slow songs, and we were dancing to some club music, some freestyle music that we like, right? At the end of that night, we had a lady come up to my wife, and was like, "What kind of pastors are you to be dancing to that type of music? And what are you showing people?" And I'm like, "But that's my wife. Like, we've been married for a very long time, and you're telling me I can't dance a slow song with her, or a salsa song with her, or a club song with her? I can't do that, And so I think that there's also a stigmatism that comes with being a Christian. Like, you can't dance.
Right.
And dancing is okay. Now, I'm not talking about popping and twerking and doing all that stuff. That's uncalled for.
Right. I mean, you can do whatever you want with your wife behind closed doors.
Behind closed doors.
You know what I'm saying? But,
That's between y'all, and y'all don't need to be putting it on no video.
Right.
Don't need to be
Right.
showing it to nobody. If y'all do that on your own, that's on your
That's
own.
on your own.
But in public, it's still okay to dance.
Right. Yeah. If as long as it's like, clean or whatever the case may be, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, like I said, that's another gift of you having. That's a skill. Like,
I mean, I love to dance,
I
and
don't
you
see
know
nothing
it.
wrong.
Yo, when I go to the parties, I dance.
Yeah.
Everybody knows I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna have a good time. I'm very selective on the songs that I choose to dance to.
Right.
I'm not gonna dance to something that's crazy. Like, I remember I was at that Sweet 16, and mind you, this was a Christian daughter's Sweet 16, and the entire squad was turning up to Meek Mill,
Right. Now that's different.
and I had to sit down.
Right. Those are obvious things. Like, clearly there are songs that, at that point, if you're dancing to it, you're basically like agreeing with
You're agreeing, absolutely.
what
You're
you're
agreeing
listening
with
to,
it.
But like I said, like what we're saying, like, there's nothing wrong with dancing. Like, you're not summoning demons while dancing. Like,
No, I'm not doing a thunder dance and trying to call down rain.
right.
Or,
Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But the song choices is a thing. It's just to be mindful and understand that what you're listening to at that moment is like you're agreeing with it because you're dancing to it.
So what do you think about Christians that listen to secular music on the regular and don't find anything wrong because it's entertaining them?
Well, it's a slippery slope, and you're desensitizing yourself.
You think all secular music is bad?
Well, if it ain't glorifying God, then I think it's one thing or another. This is my side.
Okay, yeah.
We could disagree.
No, I want to hear what you have to say.
But for me, at this point, I've tried. I've tried to go back and listen to the Drakes and them, right?
Okay.
And you kind of like fall into a place where like you feel disgusted by it, and then if you go past that disgust and you ignore that disgust, then at that point you come to agreement with it.
Yes.
And then now you're just like, then you wonder why you do certain things, why you mess up, why you do all these things, and it's like, okay, I'm not doing this.
So what about slow jams?
I mean, I was never a slow jam type of guy. I mean, I've listened to a few back in my young days, but
So you were more rap all the way.
Yeah, I mean, I did listen to a lot of R&B. Don't get me wrong, like the
Okay.
Trey Songz.
So like, obviously those type of things are more sexual in nature,
Right.
but like a good song like Luther Vandross.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like back in the day there wasn't really too much explicit content that was being like given out.
Nowadays
is all types of
it's literally X-rated.
Yeah, it's horrible now.
Hard R&B is R&B, horrible. It's just bad. I like some music that is that's secular, and stuff that I can listen to is like, something that's positive, something that is, because some secular songs, although they don't uplift in the name of God, they do uplift humanity. They do uplift and have a positive message to them, right?
Right.
And so I'm not opposed to that. I'm not going to be listening to anything that glorifies guns, drugs, sex, and violence and all that stuff. Definitely not doing that.
Right, of
But
course.
a good uplifting song, I'm not opposed to.
Yeah.
So, but when it comes to music, that's another thing that people struggle with when it comes to their faith, because and let's keep it real. Now we got fire music.
Yeah, there's no excuse now.
Back in the day, though,
Eh,
we were struggling if
oh,
we
you
came
was
from a
slipping up left and right.
if you came from an urban background, you was having a hard time because there was nothing really popping. There wasn't nothing that was really hitting, And now we have artists that are hitting. We have artists that are amazing, and I think it can become a slippery slope. I think anything that you do that you have not given unto the Lord or said, Lord, is this good? We have to be very mindful in how we interact with things. Having fun and talking about being a Christian. Movies.
Mm-hmm.
I can't watch movies with nudity.
Yeah.
There are some Christians out there who can watch a whole sex scene and not think nothing of it.
Nothing.
And to me, that blows my mind that you can see boobs and you can see butts and male parts and women parts and you'd be like, oh, well, it's just a movie.
And I know they're getting aroused by it. There's just no way.
There's no way you're not.
There's no way you're not. And I understand that in their minds, like you said, like they're really have this desensitized mind to think like, all right, even though I'm feeling this way while I'm watching this, I mean, I'm not fornicating.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I mean, it is what it is. Like,
But you're
the
fornicating
movie's
because you're
fire.
looking.
I want to see the movie because it's action.
Yeah.
And it's fun, and I don't want to sit there and watch kids movies all day. Like today, I watched Mario.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
It was great.
And there was nothing on there, at least to my point of view, from what I was saying, there was really nothing on there that was
I didn't see anything too
agenda-wise.
No, not at all.
You know
and
what
I
I'm
thought
saying?
it was I thought it was a great
It was
movie.
a really good movie.
But I won't watch movies now. But I will watch movies that are action.
Right.
And I will watch movies, and because it's inevitable, like you just can't run from this. There's language.
Right.
Language. Now, but I won't watch something obsessively with language.
Right.
Like if it's every other word's MF and GD
Yeah,
I can't do that.
I can't do it.
But I can watch a movie with curse words in
My
it.
wife won't let me either.
Yeah, I can watch a movie with curse words in it, but I can't watch a movie that every other word is a cuss word. It's just like, all right, it's too much.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, can we have fun?
I mean, if you didn't get nothing fun out of this, I don't know what to tell you. We kind of basically broke it down to the viewers out there that you could still do certain things that in your worldly ways, you could still kind of transition that to a place where, like I said, it really is the mindset of how you view fun. Because at the time when you're living in a sinful way, things that are negative and are wrong are fun to your eyes.
Absolutely.
So you just gotta transition those negative things, remove those things, and then from there you'll realize that, oh wait, I can still go on a vacation. Like a lot of people even they think they can't do that because they're like,
You
oh,
better
man.
go. Listen, I got my passport loading.
Yeah, like
My passport is coming in within the next 6 weeks or so, and if not this year, next year, I'm going somewhere tropical. I'm going somewhere nice.
Yo, please, I'm going to
I'm
Virginia this week.
out. Yeah, you're going to Virginia this weekend, but I'm out. I'm trying to lay in the beaches of Fiji. I'm trying to do something that I've never done before.
Yeah,
Go to
me
Italy, Venice,
Oh, man,
somewhere.
Italy.
You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to it. But Christians are not supposed to be boring. Christ said he came to give us life and life more abundantly. And he said that we are to enjoy living this life. And so we're not supposed to be sticking the muds. We're not supposed to be people who are always Debbie Downing everything and saying, oh, well, you can't do that and you can't do this and you can't do that. Let's not live like that, guys. That's legalistic and in itself. But then we can't go the extreme other way and just think everything is cool because we're under grace.
Right.
There has to be a medium where there is an honor and a respect unto God and what we put before our eyes and what we put on our ears, but have fun.
And also, like, for people that are out there that are saying, like, oh, well, now I got to basically give my life to the Lord and I'm going to give him basically the majority of my time. Now, when you're doing that, just know, once you give your life to the Lord truly, the joy of the Lord is your strength. Right?
That's
so
right.
Now, at
The
that
joy.
point,
That's
so
right.
it's like things that you might have found fun at the time, and the way how you viewed them while you were in your sinful ways as boring and, oh my God, this is gonna suck. It's gonna be the opposite because you're so in love
Absolutely.
with God that you're like,
Absolutely.
man, I want to go to church and
pray. I want to be in church and praying. I
Yeah,
love being with
like-
my brothers and sisters. I love reading my Bible. I love to go in fellowship, you know, and
we're family here.
and
So it's
exactly.
Like, if
So
your
for
church
us-
isn't building family culture,
leave.
Then-
No,
then clearly it's not going to be good for you because it's always just
Yeah.
going to be a check in, check out. You
Yeah,
know what
no,
I'm
we
saying?
built family, and so we eat with each other, we go out with each other.
Yeah.
We about to spend a whole week together
Yeah,
in
it's
Maine,
gonna
which
be
is gonna
fun.
be amazing. And so we have a lot of stuff, man. We do life together,
Right.
and I think that's what makes the walk so much better.
Mm-hmm.
It's because we're not by ourselves. We may have lost, or maybe not lost. Let me not use that word. We have let the past go along with those friends, but we go from friends to family, and it's amazing.
That's why the disciples stayed.
Exactly, because they became family. And so, listen, family, fun, fellowship, food, all of it can be done in our Christian walk. And so don't be a stick in the mud. Don't feel like everything God is going to condemn you, because there's no condemnation to those that's found in Christ. But don't take advantage of grace.
Right. Please don't do that.
Don't take advantage of grace. Don't be like these sloppy dudes out here, these sloppy women out here that just doing whatever they want, and then they saying they's marking grace on it. That is not of God. And so that's episode 12, y'all. I hope that you enjoyed this.
Like
you
it,
know,
please. Like the video.
subscribe, bang on that notification bell, and get ready, because episode 13, we got Zion Johnson in the hot
Yeah,
seat
Zion.
talking about his brand new book. Do not miss it. We love y'all. It's been the Recall Podcast. I'm Eric Acevedo.
I'm Brian Gonzalez.
Y'all already know what it is. God bless y'all. Peace.
Man, this life. 3 months in and we stay between the righteous cones. Jesus Christ be the Lord of our love Jones. No one's home and she needs company for the feast. That she was cooking, so I slid on over to her piece. God on my eat, she's my peeps and I know I'm blessed. But in a flash, trash is rising up in my flesh. Talk so pure, nothing but about the good shepherd. But honey gotta walk more better than a black leopard. My old master's back, trying to drown the voice of my teacher. Like something Jurassic versus my new creature. Both of our Christian eyes caught one another scoping. We couldn't front, we knew we both were open. What? The deal, this ain't the way to go for God's anointed. The last thing we want is a holy God disappointed. But what the heck, a peck won't take us across the fine line. Oh my God, our lips is turning to some bonbons. Now I'm locked, I wanna stop, Lord Jesus help me. Oh yeah, you say if I resist the devil he would flee. And you also said that I should flee you for lust. But my legs are super heavy and my feet are stuck. I know in marriage is where you'll give me the whole bunch. But now she's smelling sweeter than peanut butter Captain Crunch. And Lord, you know what that's been doing to a brother lately. Father, forgive me, I think I'm going crazy. Temptation now or later, less or greater, keeps war between my nature. Tata, Tita, stronger, weaker, old master versus teacher. Preacher, double feature. Temptation now or later, less or greater, keeps war between my nature. Tata, Tita, stronger, weaker, old master versus teacher. Preacher, double. Friday night and got liberty to do it all. But that ain't wise, cause even got liberty to fall. I'm saved, eternally secure and being sanctified. Whoever said Christian life is all fun, then they lie. Now Jesus is my Lord, and ain't no doubt about it. It's 10 p.m., clubs are open and they bout it. I know all the world has to offer is obituary, but I'll kill myself if I play another game of Pictionary. Monopoly, taboo, bowling, or even gestures. Freaks are coming out and it's the end of the semester. Deep down I feel the spirit really urging me to stall. But am I more of a Christian locked inside these four walls? God, was I snatched from death to now live like a hermit? If this is a lesson, teach me, cause I can't discern it. But I guess it ain't right for me to get all excited and race out to the party where you ain't even invited. Word born, they ain't letting you in, this I know. They'll make you stand outside while inside we say ho. And you probably waiting for me until I got my freak over. But that ain't right to do to a person who's named Jehovah. Help me, I see it ain't cool when you ain't welcome, Lord. But I'm still contemplating going cause our brother's bored. Temptation now or later, less or greater, keeps war between my nature. Tata, Tita, stronger, weaker, old master versus teacher. Preacher, double feature. Temptation now or later, less or greater, keeps war between my nature. Tata, Tita, stronger, weaker, old master versus teacher. Preacher, double. Now Christian am I, reborn passion. I puff up all yours to keep my own jasmine. Habit now I has been, even though my crew still does it. I don't touch it, got new needs, new steeds, new budget. But there's something about today and me in their presence. Though I've been round before when they spark the herbal essence. Every round of the cypher, I say no, they still offer. Lord, I wish this was back in the day when I was a cougher. Cause in those days, brown sugar, I couldn't stand her. But Blunt Buchan's who made her my commander. And she say, get up, stand up. Yeah, 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 Blunt is on tonight. She say, fill up, roll up. Yeah, cause trees we're gonna light. Yeah, yeah, she say, get up, stand up. Els is on tonight. Yeah, yeah, she say, spark up, puff up. It's natural, ain't no wrong or right. And now that I'm down with Christ, I thought I'd hate the smell of homegrown. But right now it's like the sweetest smell I've ever known. I'm blown, Lord, I don't wanna go back the wrong route. Plus I'll kill my witness and all I've been sharing about. Like how God wants to take a man, split him and spiritually gut him. Teach belief in his son filled with his spirit and stuff him. Lace him, lick him, heal, reseal the epidermal. Then give a Christ-like spark and let life burn eternal. And like how I'm trying to diss the old master to obey the new teacher. Cause anyone in Christ becomes a new creature. And those who walk in the spirit will never lack, which means I'm doing something wrong cause I just caught a contact. Temptation, temptation, double temptation. Know this, no temptation has seized you except what is common to man. And God is faithful. He won't allow you to be tempted beyond what you're able to bear. And when you are tempted, He'll also provide a way out so that you can stand up under it. Double feature.